Algorithms are increasingly used in high-impact domains, but there is little consensus on how to define and mitigate unfair bias. Because the topic is cross-disciplinary, it is challenging to agree on terminology and approach. Given my interdisciplinary background in this area, my research objective is to introduce an end-to-end context-conscious methodology to govern the risk of unfair bias in machine learning. These efforts are divided into 3 areas. I'll first share some of my findings so far and then discuss what's next. The key papers I will talk about are highlighted here. The landscape of open source fairness toolkits reflects the diverse perspectives of the designers and have significant gaps. The first gap is between how fairness is considered in computer science literature versus in ethical philosophy and in welfare economics. For example, the contextual nuances of acceptable versus unacceptable inequalities in philosophy, and the consideration of autonomy and utility alongside fairness in economics. Biases can be introduced in machine learning lifecycle through decisions in each phase. I proposed a practical questionnaire for bias detection and successfully trialed it with industry practitioners. Different models have different trade-offs between objectives, formalized here in financial inclusion versus minority denial rates. There are 3 key questions driving the next phase of my research. I use the input features to predict race instead of lone outcome, and I'm looking into the statistical reasons why some algorithms are more affected by joint distributions between race and outcome. Using open source peer-to-peer lending data, I found typos are associated with greater probability of default, and I'm working on ways to separate the behavioral and personality traits from other sensitive features. My next project aims to formalize fairness under uncertainty. For example, new hires apply at once so we can calculate group-level fairness, but for rolling applications, it depends on the assumptions about the remaining applicant pool. These are the areas in which I'm looking for collaborators and ideas over my placement year at the Turing. Please reach out if you have an interest in machine learning fairness and bias.